Hey there, so this is lecture 2 and we have topics of elements, attributes, headings and paragraphs. Talking about HTML elements, they usually consist of a start tag and an end tag with the content inserted in between. I've told you about this already. These are the very little things that this is a element and it contains a starting and ending tag, and at the same time it contains the content. The HTML element is everything from start to end. Also every tag that contains some content, or every tag that has its appropriate ending and opening brackets and everything, that is our element. HTML elements with no content are called empty elements. I've told you about that. One of its example is break tag. This is a break tag and it does not contain any content and it does not contain any ending tag, but it's still an element. So it's because it's a self-closing tag, so it does not contain no ending tag, and it just defines a certain break between our text paragraphs or between our images to give a break to them. Talking about the nested HTML elements. These are the elements that are nested in one another. Nested HTML elements. Every you can say every document that we create, it contains nested HTML elements. We have tags into tags and we have elements into elements. So HTML elements can be nested, and this is normal that elements can contain elements. All HTML documents consist of nested elements. This is a normal thing. This example contains 4 HTML elements. We can see this is one element, this is the second element, so this is the second element, that's the starting of the element, and this is the ending of that element, the third element, and the fourth element. We actually have 5 elements in here. This is another element, so we can say this little document contains 5 HTML elements. The HTML element defines the whole document. You can say if we are talking about the elements, they actually define that this was the document and that was the first element, the second element, and things like that. Moving on, this inside an HTML element is the body element. This is nothing but a piece of code. The body element defines the document body and it has a start tag and an end tag. These are the things that we already know about. Alright, there's a thing that do not forget the end tag. So it's probably it doesn't look really important that we use tags or not, because if we write hello world and if we add our headings into our editor, and if we write them without tags, they still appear on our browser. But this, when we are working on a professional level, we need to know that this is very important to not forget the tags. Some HTML elements will display correctly even if you forget the end tag, but this will later on create some damage to your project or your HTML document, or it will create unexpected results. Empty elements, HTML elements. One of them is break, that I've already talked about. Break is a self-closing tag and it does not contains no content. Also, empty elements can be closed in the opening tag like this. This is one way to write the break tag, and this is another way to write the break tag. HTML attributes. Now HTML attributes are things that actually defines the content between our tags, that says that the content will be of this color and this size and this font and this font size and things like that. Attributes gives you the additional information about your HTML element. All HTML elements can have attributes. Attributes provides additional information. They're always specified in the start tag. You can say that this is, I've told you when we were talking about the link, that this is the starting tag and we are putting our attributes in our starting tag. So attributes usually come in name and value pairs, like name is equal to value. Whenever we want to write attribute, we will write it like this, that the name of the attribute and then the value of the attribute. So this will be appear like, if we need a source to a image, so the source is the name of the attribute, and whatever the name of the image is going to be the value of the attribute, and it appears in double quotations like this. All right, so the talking about the href attribute, this is the attribute that is used for HTML links, and this defines the address that is specified for the link, and this is how it looks like, and I have already did this in the past lecture. The source attribute is the same attribute from our image, and it specifies the source of our image, where our image belongs, or you can say the file name of the image is specified in the source attribute. We have the width and height attributes, and they are used in images also, and they can be used in divs to specify their width and height, and they are very common. You can just write width and give a value of your own choice in double quotations, and it will appear the same. And let me show you how it works. We have a image in our folder. So this is the height and the width of the image. This is really changed now. The width and height are specified in pixels by default, and you can change it as well. The alt attribute, we have talked about it earlier too. The alt attribute is as an alternative text to be used if the image is crashed or it cannot be displayed. The value of the alt attribute can be read by screen readers. If you can't see the image, you need some information about the image, so we will give an alternative information about the image, that this image was of a girl, or this image contained something harming or offensive, something like that. The alt attribute is also useful if the image cannot be displayed, and that if it does not exist. The style attribute. The style attribute is used to specify the styling of an image, like its color, its font, or its size, or you can say its font size. And let me show you how this is gonna work. This is the style attribute. We write it like this, and the value of the style attribute is going to be appearing here. This will change the color of our paragraph text. This is here. This is the red paragraph. Also we have the lang attribute, and this defines the language of the document. It has nothing to do with the, it does not appears on your browser, so we will not actually perform it. So it is helpful for the search engines, so they can see what language is of your document or of your web page. Declaring a language is important for accessibility of applications as screen readers and search engines as they crawl your web page, and they look for information as meta information. So they need things like language attribute, so that they can see that what was your web page language. The first two letters specify the language this, and if there is a add two more letters US. So you can just write English, or you can write it in that formal way. This is not important, and it's not of about HTML. The title attribute. Title attribute. This is okay. Don't confuse it with the title tag. We have learned before. This is a attribute, and we have a tag name title also, but this title is used for a tooltip, and I'm going to show you that how it works. If we add this to our element, the value of the title attribute is going to be appearing as a tooltip when we are going to mouse over our paragraph. Let's copy this and I'll show you how it works. So this is the tooltip. You can see there it says I'm a tooltip. So this will be appearing like this. Moving on to the next topic, that's HTML headings. We have talked about it earlier. There are 6 types of headings, and they are the most important thing in any HTML document and in any HTML web page, as in the sense of search engines, they look for headings always. These are the 6 headings that are defined by the developers. If you don't add headings into your web page, and then you publish your web page to your users, they will skim a page by if they can't see the headings and they're just paragraphs and things like that. They will get confused and they'll leave your page and move to another search engine and look for another page. Bigger headings. Each HTML heading has a default size. I have told you about this too, but we can actually style them the way we want. We can add our own font size to a heading too, to its opening tag, and let's do this. So this is the heading with the style that we have created, and this is the original heading. But in the sense of if we want our page to be indexed on the top pages on Google or any search engine, we need to add headings like H1 and H2. This is very important. HTML horizontal rules. The HR tag is used to define a thematic break in HTML page, and it gives a break between 2 lines, but it appears as a horizontal rule. You have seen rulers in Photoshop or maybe, but it appears, this is HR, and it appears as a horizontal rule. And let's see how it works.